Welcome back to Short Legs Dark Tales. It's me, Penny, your tiny narrator with a big nose for mystery. Curl up close because today we're sniffing our way into Chapter 6 of The Woman in White. Things are getting very curious indeed. Let's see what happens next. Chapter 6. The story of the chase is a very simple one. I was far too confused, too much startled by the suddenness with which the encounter had taken place, and too anxious to find out who the woman was, to think at all of looking back at the moment when she passed me. The instant she was out of sight, I followed her. I gained rapidly on her in the first minute or less, then she heard me and ran. I had no chance of catching her, unless she was too terrified to know where she was going. For more than 10 minutes, we ran through what seemed to be a never-ending length of lanes, then turned sharp and darted into a meadow. I pressed her hard and was gaining fast. She lost her presence of mind as we neared the middle of the field. I saw her drop on her knees and raise her hands to me in the most passionate entreaty. And then, as I still pressed on, she rose again and ran on till she had reached the end of the field. There in the hedge, she found an opening and crossed the road beyond it. I followed, and she turned down a lane on the left hand. My strength was beginning to fail me, and I should certainly have stopped to take breath if I had not seen her at that moment pass rapidly through a wicket gate into a field at the end of the lane. I crossed the road after her and looked into the field. It was small and empty, with a cottage at the farthest side of it. I looked all round, without seeing anything. I passed through the gate and looked about me once more. The field and the cottage were both empty. I had advanced nearly halfway across the enclosure before I saw her again. She was not more than 30 yards from me. When I first saw her, she appeared to be stooping over something. I kept her in view as she slowly walked away, with her back towards me. Before she had advanced many paces, she stopped and looked round. Seeing me, she instantly stepped off the path and disappeared in the plantation that bounded the field on one side. When I came up, she was not to be seen. I stopped again. The very confusion and rapidity of her flight made me suspect that she had some reason for dreading the pursuit which she had provoked me to undertake. I paused to recover my breath, and to consider the best means of securing her before she escaped me altogether. She could not, I knew, be very far off, and the plantation in which she had disappeared, extending little more than 100 yards forward, must end in the high road again. I determined to enter it at once and to search the ground carefully before I ventured on continuing the pursuit by myself, on the chance of gaining some information from any person whom I might meet. I advanced cautiously into the plantation, which was composed of fir trees, intermixed with shrubberies, the ground being damp and soft underfoot. After wandering about for a little while, I came upon a small open space surrounded by trees. As I approached it, I stopped again and listened. No sound stirred the stillness of the place. I looked in. The woman was there. She was standing, bareheaded, with her back to me. She had never once looked round while I was following her, had never even seemed to suspect that I was near her. Could she have been more wary than I had supposed? Or was she too much frightened to know what she was about? I entered the open space, and she heard me. She turned instantly and faced me. Her face was pale and terrified, her eyes staring wildly, and her lips parted. I had supposed her to be a young woman from her figure and the appearance of her hair, but she looked old now, nearly 50 years of age. "You are very ill," I said. "I am afraid you have frightened yourself. You looked when we met as if you were in trouble. Can I help you? Would you like to rest? Would you like me to get you a glass of water?" The very sound of my voice seemed to frighten her still more. She looked round her on either side, as if to see whether we were alone, then back again at me. She said something I could not hear, and made a sudden gesture with her hand. "Don't run away," I said. "For God's sake, don't run away." I advanced a few steps towards her. "Don't be frightened," I went on. "I'm only a drawing master. I'm not a police officer. You're as safe with me—" Before I could finish the sentence, she sprang upon me with the fury of a wild animal. I was totally unprepared for her attack. She struck me on the breast with both her hands. I staggered back a few steps, and before I could recover myself, she had dashed past me and disappeared among the trees. I did not give up the pursuit this time. I had seen too plainly in her behavior that some serious cause for alarm must have been connected with her flight from the high road. Without once stopping to think, I set off again in pursuit of her. Before I had gone far, I was stopped by hearing the barking of a dog. The sound came from the direction of the cottage. I ran towards it at once. When I got round to the back of the building, there was the woman, held fast in the grasp of a man, one of the laborers evidently, whom my employer had pointed out to me from the distance. The dog, a large mastiff, was standing by, barking furiously. As soon as she saw me, the woman burst out crying and struggled to free herself from the man's grasp. "He's not the police," she cried. "He's not the police after all. He's only a drawing master. Let me go. I mustn't stay here. You don't know who I am. You don't know what they may do to me." "She's mad with fear," said the man. "Don't let her go, sir. For her own sake, don't let her go." He was right. She was mad with fear. After repeatedly trying to escape from us, and repeatedly failing, her strength gave way all of a sudden. She sank to the ground, sobbing and moaning, and crying out piteously that she wanted to go home, and that she meant no harm to anybody. "Let her rest a little here," said the man. "I'll go and tell them at the house that you have found her. She's known to be about in these parts, and there may be someone at Limmeridge who is looking for her." I took out my card and gave it to him, and then sat down by the woman's side. She hid her face from me in her shawl, and kept on moaning and murmuring to herself. I had hardly spoken to her again, when the man returned with a carriage and some of the servants. She started up at the sight of them, and tried to run off, but the shock had utterly exhausted her strength, and she dropped on the grass again, helpless. The servants carried her to the carriage, and I saw her driven away, on the road to Limmeridge. Oh, the plot thickens like gravy on a Sunday. What do you think is really going on with the woman in white? Let's wag on over to Chapter 7 soon. Until then, keep your tails fluffy and your hearts curious. Bye-bye for now.